Batteries. I don't expect we'll have a battery dumping problem out of it, but in this room, however, if you have a facility and you store used batteries that are broken up and damaged, as you can see, this is a Class A misdemeanor. It's one of the highest misdemeanors. Penalty of 1 year in jail to $4,000, and notice each battery is a separate offense. If you have 10 batteries, the DA, if he wants to, can take 10 charges. This is what we're looking at. This is what we see at facilities. The batteries are outside, they're broken. What's inside the core of the battery? What's it made of? Lead. So we get water in from rain and so forth, we get lead out, and then we get soil contamination. Okay, we all pretty much know what lead will do to kids and everything else, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But keep these things inside is the best thing I can tell you. Keep them stored upright so we don't have any discharge, and don't store any more than you have to. Take them to a battery recycler and get rid of them as quick as you can. Used oil dumping. I know some folks in this room are as old as I am and more, and we used to be able to put oil on the weeds, and dust suppression on roads and fence lines and all that kind of stuff. But we can't do that anymore. It's illegal in the state of Texas to dispose of any oil on land or water in the state, period. There's no quantity issue. You just can't do it. And you can see by the penalty, $1,000 to $50,000, or imprisonment to up to 5 years. That's a pretty stiff penalty for oil. So just be aware, no oil anymore on the ground, in the water. If you do have a spill of some sort, clean it up. Immediately take the soil up and dispose of the soil properly. This is the kind of stuff we see when we're doing surveillance. These are obviously the really bad actors that we really want to get. But companies do get tagged in this thing. We did a surveillance in this particular spot where we were told that there's a lot of dumping of oil going on the weekends, sort of a dead-end street where all the cars would show up and change their oil and do minor tune-ups and so forth. And we sat there for a few days over the weekend, and sure enough, we did see a lot of this. We made several arrests. We sat there, and we'd no sooner make an arrest, leave, come back, there'd be 25 more cars down there doing similar type stuff. And we'd make another arrest, load them up, go back and do the paperwork, come back out. There'd be a different 25 cars there. So we sat back one weekend. This was back when the Rockets were doing the 3-peat, and it was playoff weekend. So we sat back for 2 weekends in a row prior to that, and we just videotaped. Took pictures, got facial IDs of the people, license plates on the cars, and we had some 30 violators that were there over that 2-weekend deal. We went back and checked license registrations against the photos we had, pulling their driver's license and stuff up, and we ID'd 21 of the 30 people. And we spent the Rockets playoff day, the final game, in a paddy wagon van all over the city, picking up. We got 21 of the 22 we put warrants out for. And we put them in jail. The media made a big splash. They were with us on this deal. The contemplation was the rest of them we put on the news that night. We let the media have the other tapes that we had. They played all those pictures of all those other people. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we got a call from the jail. Our number 21 guy, or 22 guy showed up, or 21 guy, when it showed up, turned himself into Harris County Jail. They called us and just go ahead and put him up, no problem. And about 10 o'clock that night, we got a call for the number 23 guy, which we didn't have a warrant for, saw himself on TV, who surrendered to the jail as well. So we had to go back and do paperwork on him. So we do a big joke around our offices getting 22 people for 21 warrants. Well, sometimes we're sitting up on things and we find things on purpose. Sometimes we find things by accident. This is over on Long Point, very busy street. We're actually watching something over to the left of that Kroger workers there, and we see this guy coming out to the street with a barrel. We just flip the camera around and sort of watch. Well, needless to say, we went over and introduced ourselves. He's no longer in business there. He's actually up in TDC spending time as the woman. All because he decided to do an oil change business and he had no way of getting rid of his oil. He never contracted anybody to recycle his oil, and this was his version of getting rid of it, putting it in the storm sewer. And he also had to pay about $12,000 or $14,000, I can't remember, for the cleanup that it took to clean up the sewers. So, and that's probably something else that should cover. If you have a spill or you have a release or cause a release in your facility, you're responsible for the cleanup wherever that release goes. So it can get very, very expensive in a very short period of time. If you have a facility that has oil drums and they look like this, you're wrong. That's all that soil around the base there is just saturated in oil. This was an automotive shop, this particular place. And the employees used to have a game where they took the little pail they put under the car to catch the oil. They had that big funnel to the right there, right off to the right-hand side of the silver one. They put it in the thing and stand back 5 feet and see who could get the most oil in that funnel. And the rest of it went all over the place. This was another very expensive cleanup for the company. Water pollution. There's two types of water pollution. There's what's called strict liability. Strict liability means it doesn't matter whether you intended for the release to occur, if it was an accident, but the release did occur and it got into waters of the state, it is automatically a violation. Waters of the state is another term I'm going to cover real quick with you, but DA is going to cover it with you as well later on. Waters of the state means any standing water in a sewer system, any drainage ditch, whether it's dry or wet, that would normally handle water runoff. Okay, so if there's a flat piece on your property that normally the water drains across to get out, to drain off your property, where it all sort of comes together in a low spot, goes off your property. That is, if you dump oil there, that's a water course. That would be a strict liability issue if there was no water in it, even if you had a release in it. Okay, it's a little bit lighter fines, but still it's fairly significant, up to $50,000. I don't know too many companies in this room that could handle a $50,000 hit and survive, especially in today's economy. Okay, so, and believe it or not, juries are starting to hand out some horrific awards for the state. Some high penalties, some high costs. Are there any automotive shops in the crowd? No automotive. Anybody does their own work, engine work and everything on their vehicles for their company? Okay. I'm going to slide by this one pretty quick then. This is just a point. You can't put motors, you can't put auto parts and things like that on the ground because they do leak. Even though you've drained them, they will leak for a long time, oil and stuff out of them. This particular place had another oil problem, had oil all over the ground. If you look at the officer's leg there, this is what you call contempt of cop. We were walking through the facility, and there was actually a hole, so much oil, there was actually a hole there, he didn't see it. And when he was just walking, stepped down in the hole, you could see the oil up his clothes. That gets somebody to go to jail pretty quick. Okay, felony water pollution. This is where we go into the knowing and intentional type discharges. Permits the discharge. That would be you as the company owner telling your employee, yeah, just go dump that over there. That's permitted. Okay, into or adjacent. That's the big key. Into or adjacent. If you dump it next to the drainage ditch, where the next time it rains it's going to run down next to or adjacent. That would be a violation under this code. Causes or threatens to cause water pollution. Now we come out, we take a lot of samples. We're sampling pools. Everything for us goes to the laboratory. The laboratory tells us what it is, and then they look it up in the book to see if it's a pollutant. And I'm going to tell you that basically everything just about is a pollutant. Okay? You cannot put hot water in a ditch. Are you aware of that? Hot water is a pollutant. Because hot water will kill the vertebrate in the water, animal, fish, and so forth. So it's not allowed. Believe it or not, we've got a company that's in the court system right now for that exact problem. Can you run your hose in the ditch? Your water hose off your tap at your business. Could you run that in the ditch? And you had to get wine. And what's in treated water? Chlorine. What do you have to do when you have a fish tank and you put water in it? You got to dechlorinate it to keep from killing the fish. Same thing. So just be aware, things you might think are okay probably are not okay. All right, and this is just trying to get you to think a little bit about these things. Facilities tend to sometimes that aren't doing very well will take shortcuts. Some of them are really stupid shortcuts, really obvious problems. This particular place, another auto shop, and a lot of these are back from our auto shops were the first thing we tackled years ago, because they were one of the biggest polluters that were known at the time. This guy here has a sink, a slop sink. He's actually taken the plug out the bottom, and underneath the sink he's dug a little hole, and he ran a pipe out to the street. I don't know how he thought that nobody would see all the antifreeze out in the street. But apparently he did. This ran all the way down the street to the sewer system. Of course, we got a call about it from somebody and went out there. Now, antifreeze is another animal. Antifreeze is actually hazardous waste. Okay? A lot of problems with antifreeze. If your kid gets into that and ingests any of that stuff, if he doesn't die, he's going to have brain issues. Okay? Not to mention some stomach and other issues. Alright, antifreeze is bad stuff. And not only that, you got lead cores in some of the radiators still. You're getting lead ingestion and so forth as well. So, just be aware. Endangerment offenses, I just throw this in here for just so you know. If a release is caused by somebody, whether it's intentional or reckless, where it injures somebody or because of the egregious nature would have injured the kid. Let's say you let something go into a swimming pond where kids swim all the time. That would be a problem that they may go after an endangerment offense and look at the fine, $500 million. It's not pretty. Water pollution issues for us can stem from anything. This is how we normally get complaints. If somebody will see something out of the ordinary, in this case, this bayou is white. Not something you normally would see. We tracked that back through the sewer system. We went back to a closed sewer system from this open ditch, and we went back and it was painters painting an office building. They were taking their extra